Well, welcome to our next community forum here at Kansas Community College and the Performing Arts Center. We're so glad to see all of you here tonight. I am Crystal Watson. I am with the Kansas Black Chamber of Commerce, and I now want to call this event to order. First of all, we want to introduce our Community Candidate Forum as being sponsored by the KCK Chambers, the NBRs, also known as our Neighborhood Business Revitalization Associations, and the Independent Business Associations here in KCK. First of all, we want to take this opportunity to thank Kansas Community College for allowing us to host this candidate forum here tonight, and there will be another one scheduled the same time here. So first of all, let's give a round of applause to Kansas Community College. Yes. And we also want to thank the Performing Arts and their Media Services Department. And I think I see the crew in the back. Just give us a little wave and let's give them a hand clap. Thank them so much. We also want to thank all of you for being here and also thank the candidates for participating. We also have two moderators for tonight, and they will be asking the questions and introducing our candidates. And so first of all, I'd like to introduce Ms. Elnora Jefferson. Elnora is the Executive Director of the recently formed NBR, the Historic Northeast Midtown Association. She is a longtime committed resident of the Northeast and has also served as the Executive Director of the Oak Grove Neighborhood Association. Give a round of clap, yes. We also have Ms. Mary Rupert, and Mary is currently the Managing Editor of the Wyandotte Daily News. She has worked in local newspapers as a writer and editor for over 25 years. She's also a member of the Kansas City Press Club and is their representative here tonight. So please give a round of applause for Ms. Mary. Both of them I consider to be kind of icons in the community, so I'm just excited that they're here and accepted our invitation to be moderators. All right, I'd like to go ahead and go right into the rules for tonight. Candidates will be introduced in alphabetical order. When introduced, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make introductory comments. Our timekeepers here tonight are Marty Tennis of Central Avenue Betterment Association and Chuck Schlitter of the Fairfax Industrial Association. Please, guys, raise your hands. Okay, give them a hand clap. They will give candidates a warning with a yellow sign at 30 seconds left and 15-second left. So there'll be a 30-second warning and a 15-second left warning. Timekeepers will show a red sign when it is time to stop. Okay? After candidates have given their introductory remarks, moderators will then take over and ask questions. For each question, candidate will be allowed for up to a minute and a half to answer. Again, they will receive a yellow warning sign at 30 seconds and 15 seconds and a red stop sign when it is time to stop. Our moderators may ask follow-up questions. Questions were solicited from and determined in advance by members of the sponsoring organizations. A few minutes before the end of each session, questioning will stop and each candidate will be given 1 minute to make a closing statement in reverse order of introductory comments. We will give 15-second warning and the final stop. There will be a 5-minute break between each set of candidates. Okay. With that, we will go ahead and begin with the Commissioner District 1. we'll ask Mr. Manning to go ahead and give your opening remarks.
Hello, my name is Winfred Manning, candidate. Grew up here in Wyandotte County. I'm married, wife 30 years, 2 children, graduated from Sumner High School, worked 10 years at Santa Fe Railroad, also worked 25 years with the Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department. I'm a retired firefighter of a year now, and I've served the community not only in firefighting. I was on the board with the Economic Opportunity Foundation, and we run the Head Start program for Kansas City, Kansas. And I also play a little music. I probably played at most of the churches around here. And I'm just a concerned citizen, blue-collar worker, and just want to be a voice for the people, and so we can continue the growth and redevelopment in District 1.
Okay, we'll now have an opening statement by Ms. Gail Townsend. Sorry.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Gail Elizabeth Townsend, and I'm running as a candidate for a commissioner in District 1 in Wyandotte County, KCK Unified Government. I would like to thank, first off, the Kansas City, Kansas Area Chamber of Commerce and all of the other sponsoring organizations for an opportunity to speak with you tonight. I grew up in the northeast end of Kansas City, Kansas, between 5th and 6th Streets on Quindaro, and I'm still a resident of that neighborhood. Therefore, I share the same concerns, the same interests, know the problems of that neighborhood as my other neighbors do, and have share their same needs and concerns and interests with neighborhood improvement, development, job opportunities, accessibility to basic services such as retail, business, and transportation. I'm a product of the USD 500 school system, Dunbar Elementary to Northeast Junior to the original Sumner High School. I was blessed to move on from Sumner to attend the University of Pennsylvania, where I received an accounting degree. And I worked 10 years as a manager for a freight transportation company. When family concerns brought me back to the Kansas City area in the mid-'80s, I attended the University of Missouri at Kansas City and received a law degree. For the past 16 years, I've been an enforcement attorney with a federal agency. Those things, I believe, qualify uniquely to deal with the problems that will come before the commission. I will analyze and evaluate what the problems are, what the proposals are, and evaluate in the best interest of District 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Townsend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the moderators to take over.
Thank you. This question is for Winfred Manning. There are many food deserts in our city. The USDA has defined a food desert as an area in the United States with limited access to affordable and nutritious foods, particularly in a low-income area. As commissioner in your district, what will you do personally to assist in attracting major grocers and healthy corner stores, as well as other needed retail and services in your area, and to other urban areas in Kansas City, Kansas?
I would just reach out, network, see what's on the table now. My understanding is that we have something on the table, it just haven't been done. And find out exactly what's holding that up It's way overdue. It's happening in other parts of the city, so we know it can be done. So first priority would be make sure to find out what's the holdup, and let's get it corrected. People are waiting for that. Need it.
Same question?
I think the wonderful thing about ascending to the Unified Government Board, if I'm so blessed, will be to see what can be done in terms of looking again at grocers who are here and why aren't they coming into the Northeast End. And then to expand and go to other communities who have the same approximate size, demographics as the Northeast End, outside of Kansas if need be, outside of Missouri, to see how those were handled, to explore opportunities that may not have been looked at before. But part of the problem may be perception. I look forward to, in that position, really getting into why are there no services in that area, and why are retailers reluctant to come or come and leave.
Good evening. This is question number 2, and we'll take this in reverse order. Ms. Townsend, you'll answer first, and then Mr. Manning. The question is, what plans are you aware of for redeveloping and developing the Fairfax Industrial District? What do you propose to assist in these plans?
I am not aware at this time of any plans, not to say there are not some afoot, but certainly I'm considering the fact that we have a lot of industrial land that might be put to better use than it is now. Maybe part of the problem is the infrastructure that plagues the Northeast End generally. But I think as a commissioner, either of us would have access and insight to a lot of things that we may not have right now. But certainly I see that as fertile land and opportunity for development.
It's a very historic site, Fairfax District. There are plans to help Fairfax. We just need to get that those plans locked in, continued, on track, so we can compete with the other industry districts that are coming up across the north of the river. We have a lot of good things down there in Fairfax. We need to keep those businesses down there and help them all we can to improve their buildings and bring them up to date for this new technology that we have. We want them to be able to compete, and that's going to help the city as a whole.
This question is for Winfred. Do you know the difference between an NBR and a neighborhood group?
Is that NBR? Yeah. All of the neighborhood associations we have, and then still was one of the same neighborhood associations.
Question?
Would you repeat it again for me?
Do you know the difference between an NBR and a neighborhood group?
I think it's in the organizational structure. Basically, I guess the focus for me would be on what they do in terms of trying to rebuild and bring together resources and neighbors to maximize what can be done in those locations.
Thank you. Here's a follow-up question for both of you. What is the difference, if you can expand on that, and will you support the efforts to restore the original funding for the neighborhood business revitalization organizations, there are 8 of them, to the $30,000 that it used to be, compared to the current $22,500 that it was reduced to over the last several years? So, Gail, go ahead and answer that.
I couldn't tell you if I would support it without doing further research, and I think that would be indicative of the kind of commissioner I would be. I would have to look at what was done at the previous funding levels and what there is to show for it. Why are there cuts? What are the other things before the commission that are competing for those same dollars? So I couldn't make any promises as we're sitting here today, other than to do the evaluation needed to make, I think, the best decision I could make after the outreach and just approaching it as a business decision.
Thank you. Winfred, do you have a response to that question?
Yep, that would be part of the homework we have coming into office as a new commissioner, finding out what have been done, like I say, what we had done with those businesses, with that money, why it was cut, what did it do at that time, and if we are able to continue that funding at that same rate or increase it. But that would be things we'd have to look at once in office.
Okay, here's question number 4. Mr. Manning, you'll take the question or answer first, please. We have new jobs coming to our community at all levels of income. How will you support working class housing throughout the county to encourage new residents throughout the county as well?
In District 1, average salary is like $24,000. Now, the housing that they're doing inside of District 1 right now, a lot of folk cannot afford those homes with their salary. Those same houses have caps on it where if you make too much money, then you can't buy those homes. So we need to look into a cut in the caps. We need to free it up that if anybody qualifies for those homes and they want to live there, to be able to buy those homes. We're losing tax base east of 635, and that would be one thing that is going on over the whole city that would help in our district if we just cut some of the caps, give them each person the opportunity, and find different ways for those who can't afford it, maybe renovate homes to maintain and still live and not lose a home.
Can I have the question repeated, please? I want to make sure I
Sure.
directly answer as much as possible.
Here you are. We have new jobs coming to our community at all levels of income. How will you support working class housing throughout the county to encourage new residents throughout the county as well?
I guess the easy question would be to vote on that at any time, in any way that would come up and express encouragement and positive support for that. But I think it has to be a multi-tiered approach into why someone would want to come into the Northeast End and build and live there. You have to have the services, the infrastructure, transportation. We've talked already about the grocery stores, or else you're not going to have really people who want to take advantage of whatever opportunities might come along to live there. So I think it has to be an inclusive approach and look at a multitude of services and availability. So that in itself would be a way to support putting housing there for multi-tiered income level residents.
Thank you.
Okay, this question is for Gail Townsend. The current administration has worked hard to formulate a plan to address Wyandotte County's dismal standing in state health indicators. And by the way, today Wyandotte County was ranked 99th out of 102 Kansas counties for health. Are you familiar with Healthy Communities Wyandotte's recommendations for a better future? Do you support them? And if yes, under the present budget constraints, how would you implement them?
I'm not familiar with the particulars of the plan. However, mental health questions are something that affect a wide variety of us, people we know, family members. So I would be open and receptive to hearing plans developed. I'm not sure from the question if you're talking about the local administration or the state. I am aware nationally at the state levels there's been funding cuts proposed that are coming. As I said, I work for the federal government. The furlough that's coming up is going to affect a lot of services, and mental health will be one of them. So I am interested in being supportive of those services. But of course, there will be a lot of interest competing for dollars that are shrinking in all areas.
Thank you. Winfred?
No, I'm not completely familiar, but I would support that. As you say, we're 99th. That tells you right there there's a problem, and we need to address it. We have health, welfare is you got to stay on top of that. We have our cities, and we don't have healthy people to work the jobs that are here, that are created. We definitely have a problem, and that's going to cost us more dollars in the long run by people needing to be seen, and with all the cuts, yeah, more is falling on the cities. So I would be there to look into every avenue we have to try to get the help in those areas for the people.
Thank you. This is question number 6, and I believe, Mr. Manning, you'll take this question first, please. Okay, thank you. It's the last question. You both are running for an open seat. How many Unified Government Commission meetings, standing committee meetings, planning and zoning meetings, or public hearings have you attended in the last 6 months to hear the issues being discussed at these public meetings?
I've been attending meetings ever since I retired and before then. So in the last 6 months, that say at least 12, at least 12 just in the last 6 months.
Ms. Townsend?
Thank you. I have attended one. I have a full-time job, as I mentioned earlier, that is very demanding. However, I am not the type that believes in attending meetings for the sake of meetings. I believe in getting a job accomplished, and maybe meetings are the best way to do that, maybe not. I don't think that that is the only way that you can make yourself knowledgeable about what's going on in your community. But I do see the benefit in keeping abreast. I think that is the most important thing because we get the representation that we demand. People have asked me, what are you going to do for us as commissioner? And I'm quick to tell them it's what are we going to do as a collective unit, as a collective body from the 1st District. We cannot hold any members of the commission, the mayor, accountable for what hasn't been done if we have not been willing participants. And that means whether you've been at meetings or not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's now time for our closing statements. Ms. Townsend, you have 1 minute, and then Mr. Manning, it will be your turn.
Thank you again to the Chamber of Commerce and the other organizations. Once again, I don't want to belabor you with credentials, but I think that is one of the key things that distinguishes me from Mr. Manning. We both want development in the Northeast community, but I think I am uniquely qualified to look at the business that will come before the commission. If you want to take away one quick remembrance from me, it's a slogan that I have that I love my pad in Wyandotte County, and as commissioner, that pad, which is old school slang for crib or your house, is that I will work to change the perception in Wyandotte County that people will want to come and be residents of Wyandotte County, Northeast End particularly, 1st District. I'd work to promote accessibility of needed services and accountability as commissioner and development. Thank you very much.
Mr. Manning?
My goal is to just be a part. I want to be the voice for the people. I want to be an aid to the growth and redevelopment of District 1 through community and economic development. I want to be that open door. I want to visit with those community and neighborhood associations so we can hear what the people want to deal with first, prioritize, and that's what we're going to work on, what the people say. They're the ones that voted us in here. So we're going to do what the people want. That is my goal. I thank you, and thank you for your support, and remember, April 2nd.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manning and Ms. Townsend. We will now take a 5-minute break. Please give them applause.